Hello and welcome to True North EV. I'm your host James, and we're going to be talking to Mark from Ontario. He has a Hyundai Kona Preferred. So yeah, let's get right into it. Hello, Mark,
Hello.
and welcome to True North EV.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Hey, uh, so we'll just get started. What was the first electric vehicle you wanted?
I think originally I kind of liked the idea of the Tesla, and then um, after I saw the Kona, and it was almost the same distance and mileage at the time, and so that's why I chose the Kona. And also, the Kona seats are sat up a little bit higher, and my wife has some mobility issues, so I thought that would be easier for her to get in and out of than a sedan.
Okay, so you currently have a
Yes,
Kona. And do you have the preferred or the ultimate one then?
the preferred. Yeah.
Preferred? Awesome. And so it was mostly the mobility type deal, a little higher up, and that you were looking for?
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome. Um, and what kind of range are you getting with yours in the summer and winter?
In the summer, it was probably getting well, the decimeter was saying about 430, 440. And then in the winter, after I put the snow tires on, it dropped down to about 330, 340.
Okay.
Um,
And so why did you want an electric car even? Because you said you were looking at the Tesla and then you kind of went with the Kona.
well, my other car, I had a Kia Rio 5, and it was, I guess, what, 5 or 6 years old, and over 240,000 kilometers on it. So it was getting kind of that stage. And I thought about getting a hybrid because I thought it would be, try to be more environmentally friendly and stuff. And started doing research, and one of my coworkers has a Hyundai Ioniq, and so I was talking to her,
Yep.
and she basically said, the maintenance was barely anything. Like, they rotated their tires and checked the brakes. That was about it. And um, so I was like, well, why would I want a hybrid? Because then I have to maintain the gas engine. So I'm kind of foregoing the benefits of having the electric. And that's when I started looking at a full electric.
Awesome. And so you've had yours for how long
Um,
now?
I picked it up June 11th last year, so just
Okay. So
just coming up to an anniversary, first year anniversary in, I guess, 3 months.
yeah, so you're about 9 months in,
Yeah,
gone through most of the seasons now with
yeah.
it. Um, and so did you feel that you had to make any changes to your driving habits going from a gas vehicle to an electric?
No, well, I guess just the getting used to having the regenerative braking and things like that. But I also drive a motorcycle, so it was kind of similar to driving a motorcycle, um, and using the engine braking, like gearing down.
Yeah.
So the regenerative braking was similar to that. So it was pretty quick to get used to that idea. Because the Kona has the paddles, which you can set the regen to the three
Yeah.
different levels, and I kind of put it in level 2 was was the best because it wasn't abrupt, but it was still enough to slow you down if you had to. And then some of the safety features took a little bit of getting used to, like trusting the radar to stop the car when the car in front of you stops and things like that. But overall, it was pretty easy.
Okay. And so do you use the paddle to actually come to a complete stop, or do you still use the foot
No, I
brake?
used the right paddle most of the time.
Okay.
Usually, like the time, like I only use the brakes really if either reversing out of the driveway or moving around like at slow speeds. Then I'll use the
Yeah.
brake. I guess it's more just kind of used to that idea. The body takes over and does what it needs to do. But for the most part, like if it's a panic stop, then I'll hit the brake. But if it's
Yeah.
a more controlled stop, then I'll use the paddle.
And do you guys just have the one vehicle now, or do you still have a gas vehicle as a backup or?
Well, my wife she has a Kia Soul, so we still have that.
Okay.
So that's her car, and most of the time we'll commute. I'll drop her off at work, and then I'll go to work. And but sometimes when we need to drive separately, then she'll take her Soul. And in the summer or in the winter at Christmas time, we took the Soul to my parents, which was just kind of at the edge of the range that the guessometer was telling us to make it. So we figured taking the Soul was a little bit better because there's not a lot of recharging stations between here and my parents' place.
Okay.
So I guess.
So what would be the longest trip that you guys have done in the Kona then?
Last summer we went down to Niagara Falls for the weekend.
Okay.
From
Which would be roughly how many kilometers from where you're located?
It's probably 250, 300 kilometers, like one way.
Okay.
So it was enough. Like we had enough charge. We charged here and drove down, and then the next morning we found a level 3 charger, and then there's a Starbucks across the street. So we just plugged the car in and ran across and had some breakfast and some Starbucks and came back.
Okay. A little caffeination and ready to go.
Yeah. So, like it wasn't like a lot of people that I talk to are like, oh, we can't do long trips because it would take too long to charge. And I'm like, but you have to stop for, lunch or breakfast or whatever. And
yeah, very true. Like I was actually just talking to a guy who takes his Bolt down to Florida. Right. So it's you can now do an electric long trip.
Well, and I also watched like a lot of YouTube videos and stuff that like one guy was going from New England all the way down to Florida Keys, and he actually borrowed a Kona to do it. So I was kind of like, oh. So I watched that, and it showed how many times he had to stop, and then he found that it was better to make shorter trips than longer trips, so you don't have to charge as much. Yeah. So.
Yeah. And what would you say is probably the worst feature or item in your Kona?
I think the only thing my wife really complains about is the heat pump, because she's used to having the gas car. So once you turn the heat on, the heat's on. Whereas,
she complains that it gets hot too quick.
It's cold, and then she wants, like, when she turns the heat up, she expects it to be like instantaneously hot rather than has to push some cold air out of the pipes before it starts warming up. But like it only takes a couple of minutes to warm up. But this is that couple of minutes that she complains about. But
do you precondition the vehicle then before, or no? Not
I do
really.
In the mornings, but at night, I teach at a school, so I don't have access to a plug-in at school. So on the way home, it's usually just turn the heater on and let it do its thing. But in the morning, it's preconditioned.
So. And what would you say is the best feature or item in the Kona?
Well, I think the EV, just the driving, it's nice and quiet, and we both like music, so we can crank up the stereo and not have to worry about drowning out the engine noise.
You just have to worry about the people around you. Their noise.
Some people kind of look at you twice and like, why is your car not making any noise? Things like that. Yeah.
And what would you say is probably the worst part about having your EV in the winter? Is it just your wife not getting the heat as instantly as she would like, or?
I guess that, and then there's a little bit of range anxiety when you lose 100 kilometers in your range, and you want to do a little bit of a trip, and you're just kind of worried about can I make it there and back, or do I have to charge on the way back? But I think that's the biggest drawback but once you get used to it, I don't think it's a big deal. Like we go down and watch a lot of sports in Toronto, and we actually found the parking lot that we use actually has a charging station in it. So if we ever needed to, we could charge while we're watching the game, and we'd have enough juice to get home. So.
Yeah, I found that's happening more as the sports centers. Like I'm in Winnipeg, and even our main parking lot for the Jets has what 8 now level
Yeah,
2 chargers.
I think
So
there's like 4. There's two slots with 2 parking spots in each. So there's 4 charging
yep.
stations, and it's like the Air Canada Centre or the Scotiabank Arena is where we go to watch a lot of sports. So it's like you basically get out of the parking lot and walk straight right into the arena. So it's convenient that way too.
And what would you say is the best part about having electric in the winter?
Well, it's definitely a lot cheaper to drive because I keep track of how much energy I'm using, and I think last month it was $48 for the month commuting every day, rather than $400 or $500 in gas.
Yeah.
I'd say that's, but
And I know, like, you're in Ontario where you guys have the 2 different charge times, or like you
yeah,
got your peak
we
rate and all
have
that.
peak, off peak, and there's actually a third level in between. So I
Okay.
usually set the car to start charging it when the off peak starts, so like from 7 to 7.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
so
Okay.
it's pretty cheap. I know, like I was watching a couple of YouTube videos where people were paying like 50 cents a kilowatt hour or something like that. And I'm just like, wow.
The beauty of the actual fast chargers, it starts getting expensive when you figure out how much it is per
Yeah.
kilowatt and all that.
But
What has your experience been like going through the dealership and all that? Like,
well, the dealership, I use the same dealership as my colleague at work, and
yeah.
We ran into the dealer. Like I saw an ad on, I think I was on Auto Trader or something, and saw their ad for electric cars. So I contacted them and set an appointment to talk to their sales guy. And I'd done enough research that I probably knew more about electric cars than he did.
Seems to be the going trend.
But like he's really friendly and took the time to talk to us and made sure we had the right car and right car for us. And it was very very dedicated to the experience. And I'm not sure if it's all Hyundai dealers, but this Hyundai dealer, all their sales guys are non-commissioned, so they're all salary based. So
Okay.
it was, like he spent, I think the one day we went down to talk to him, he spent like 3 or 4 hours with us, just kind of chatting with us, getting to know us, make sure that we, this was the right car for us. And took us for a test drive in their show model, and he really took his time. I was really appreciative, and I've had the car twice for servicing, and like the first time, I guess it was with their dealership. It was the first time's always free, so it was here's the car. I'm not sure what you're going to do with it, but it said it was time, and I guess they just did it inspection.
So was that your 15,000 kilometer inspection
I did
deal?
the 12,000 because I wasn't really sure.
Oh,
so I'm just doing every 12,000 because that's what I think the manual said. So,
yeah. Where I've already passed that.
So, but I did 12,000. It was, not really sure what we're gonna do. We'll just make sure everything's working for you. And I think they were done in half an hour. And then the second time, I had bought some tires and winter tires and rims from a co-worker, and apparently the rims weren't the right size. So then they actually found rims at the dealership and made sure that it was safe for us to travel in. So
okay, so they seem to be pretty knowledgeable about the Kona and all that.
Like the technician that actually worked on the car was very knowledgeable, and the sales guy. But when I called into the service manager or the service personnel, they're still talking like oil changes and coolant changes and stuff. So
not quite caught up with that.
So we'll set set an appointment for your oil change, and I'm like, there's no oil in it, but okay.
Even with the sales side of it, did you find that they were very open and willing to take you for a test drive? They didn't really try to push maybe more towards a gas side of it.
No, they
Just
were very open to it, and they, like I said, they had a Kona there that we could test drive that was EV. Um, so
okay.
like they're like I said, this is what I want, and they were just like, okay. So basically, it came down to color, and there was at first we tried to get an ultimate, but the financing didn't work out, so that's why I went with the preferred. But I don't really miss the difference. So.
Yeah. And did you find that you had to wait quite a while for yours to come in, or did they have one already
No,
there
we had
for you?
I think we were in initially the end of April. We went in to talk to them, or I guess it was the middle of April, and then there's the federal government incentive started on May 1st or
Yeah.
something like that. So by the time we got around to ordering the preferred, they're like, wait until May 1st, and then we can get the federal incentive, so that they could take care of all that for me. So it
Yeah.
was about a month,
Awesome.
and well, we got it on June 11th, so it was probably just over a month until it came, and actually figured out who the CEO of Hyundai Canada is. So I sent a message and said,
Yeah.
because the dealership said, oh, well, we're not getting any preferreds. So you're going to have to wait like 6 months or whatever. So I kind of sent the CEO a message and said, hey, why aren't you, if you're going to advertise that you can sell these preferreds, why aren't you selling them? Why don't you have them in stock? And he said, oh, well, by the way, there's a shipment of preferreds coming. So he actually,
So you were
yeah, well,
accelerated
and
a
he
little
actually sent
bit.
me like, which color combination do you want? And I said, oh, this is the one I preferred. And he said, okay, so here's your VIN number, and it's on the shipment, and it should arrive at this date. Like, oh, okay. So it was.
Yeah, because I ordered probably pretty close to you, and I didn't actually get mine
Oh wow.
until
Yeah.
September.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I guess I
So
was on the first shipment of preferreds, and then I guess they had to wait another month or two for the next shipment, which is probably yours.
yeah. Yeah, because I was told that they weren't even going to be making preferreds
Yeah.
until June or July.
Yeah, like
So,
that's what I was told too, and
uh,
then that's when I was like, well, I'll just do an investigation and put my 2 cents in and see what
yeah,
happens.
yeah, where I wasn't in a
No.
big hurry for mine. Um, and because you said your coworker
Yep.
sort of helped convert you per se to an EV, have you sort of passed it on to anybody else now a little more interested in an electric because they see how it can work for
I've talked
you?
to a lot of people. Like there's some people that are very much like probably the next car I get will be an EV. Um, like my son, he's 26, and I guess the year before he had just bought his new car, so he said probably the next car he gets, which will probably be in 4 or 5 years, because he drove mine around a couple of times, and he said that he really liked the way it drove and things like that, so he'd probably get an EV next as well. And there's other people that have said similar things and I've talked to, and this is my experience, and they're like, oh, okay. And then other people are just like, well, I miss the gas engine and the noise and all that stuff, and just like, okay.
Well, depending on what EV you
Well,
get,
that's
you
what I
can
told
still
them. Like
get that
the
noise.
Porsche just came out, and you can drive it around with the noise filtered in. So
Yeah,
yeah,
even the Mach-E is going to
yeah.
have the noise in it. Um,
So
awesome. Um, is there any interesting or amusing stories of people noticing your
um,
electric or whatever, scaring them by
yeah.
pulling up?
Well, there's been a few times like I've been driving through the parking lot and come up behind students who are going to the bus, and they don't hear you coming, or well, they hear the noise and then they turn around and they're like, whoa, what's that? And so they're kind of shocked. And then the one time that we parked at the sports complex, and I plugged it in. We were, getting into the car, and I was unplugging it, and the person across the parking lot was aisle was getting into their SUV and like, ooh, look at you, you got an EV, blah 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 blah. You're better than us, and I'm just like, yeah, because you're driving a SUV that's sucking gas. And, but I think that's there's not a lot of negative experience that I've had with it. That was
Yeah.
probably the biggest one that I've noticed, and yeah, it is a premium vehicle, but at the same time, I think the savings from all the less maintenance and cost less to actually operate is almost balancing out what I would have paid for my other car, plus all that maintenance and gas and stuff is offset by the extra premium you pay, but have less cost to operate.
So how many kilometers roughly do you got on your Kona then?
I think last time I looked, it was 32,000, 33,000.
Okay. So you've done your 12,000 and 24,000.
Yeah.
Did you, for your second service, the 24,000 one, did you shop around and see if there was different prices at other service locations, or did you just deal with
I
yours?
just went to the dealer. Just I like to do that, just keep, especially when it's under warranty, just to like you did the service, so anything that happened to it, it's it's on you guys.
Yeah. No, I'm just wondering, just because some other people have had the experience of they call one dealership and it's this price for it, and then they call another one and it's a different price essentially for the exact same
when
work.
I booked the appointment, like I said, the service manager or whatever, she was like, "Oh, it's going to be like $150," and I'm like, "For what?" But when I got there, I think they'd said $50 just for the half-hour inspection kind of thing. So
yeah,
I'm willing to pay the guy to do his job. So, right?
Yeah.
I think that was
awesome. Is there any electric vehicle groups you're a part of that you'd like to kind of shout out, or any way if somebody might have questions in that Toronto area that they can get in touch with you? Or
I've gone to the EV or the Kona enthusiast from Canada and the Kona EV. I guess it's a worldwide Facebook groups. And then you can either contact me through Facebook. I'm also on Twitter. Those are the two major social media groups I work at. So if you go to the Canada group, I'm part of that, so you can probably find me there. If there's people have questions, I definitely suggest looking on YouTube, because there's a lot of, like yourself, a lot of podcasts, but there's also a lot of YouTube channels that are dedicated to EVs and alternative fuel vehicles. So
awesome. Well, I do thank you so much. Oh, actually, how would people find you on Facebook or Twitter if they wanted to?
I always forget my handles on those things. I don't usually message myself too often, but
yeah.
So on Twitter, it'd be at MPMCLENAGHAN, which is my last name, McClenaghan. And then on Facebook, there's it. I think it's just at, if you go on Facebook and search Mark McClenaghan, so last name is MCLENAGHAN, and Mark's with a K, you'll probably find me. There's not too many of us out there, so.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I do thank you so much for your time, and you have a great rest of the day.
Good luck with your podcast. Well, I already subscribed, so I'll be listening.
Awesome. Right. Thank you very much. Have yourself a great day. I want to thank Mark again for his time. It was an awesome conversation. And if you guys want to reach out to me, it's email is truenorthev@gmail.com, or you can reach me on Facebook, True North EV Podcast, or Twitter at True North EV Podcast. So next recording's probably going to go up Monday. We do have a few of these. We chipped away quite nicely. And really enjoying all these conversations, guys. And I hope you guys are too. If you guys have any suggestions, any topics you would like to hear about, or anything even you or your EV group is doing to pass time by while we're all at home, or stuff we can do with our electric vehicles while still social distancing ourselves. I would love to hear about it. So, yeah, we'll talk to you guys later. Bye.